Well, hi everyone, and welcome to our Friday night hate speech. And we have a lot of topics lined up for tonight. I don't think we most likely will get through of all of that tonight, but we'll go through as many topics as we can. And uh, we, for example, have lined up the arrest and the psychiatric evaluation of the Pinko priest, who is a Finnish pro-migrant activist whose mental spiraling has been noted in these far-right circles for quite some time now. And these anti-racists, they generally are radicalizing over here. So that's one topic. And then, of course, we have an asylum seeker committed of several sex offenses and a little bit of brawling between these migrant gangs. A Finnish study about how well asylum seekers trust Christians. A case in Finnish court which got its decision today or yesterday, in which Muslim man was charged with planning the honor killing of his sister, and the man was set free today. Or was it yesterday?
It was the 5th, so Wednesday.
Oh, Wednesday. And another fine example of the Finnish court system, which is the releasing of the Finland's only serial killer. And that's also happened this week. And so we have a lot of these glorious moments for the Finnish court system. And then there is a BuzzFeed test, how white are you? And I actually took a little bit of peek of that test. And I thought it might be funny if we did that test on live. And then there is a column on Finnish newspapers about Trump's visit to Poland. And this was a very like a grudgy, petty piece by a left-wing journalist. And I thought it was a bit funny. But first of all, of course, we have to say something about the entire CNN mess.
Yeah, CNN has showed some very ugly behavior by stalking a guy who had made funny memes, which Donald Trump had retweeted, and CNN wanted to know who the author was. They bought some Russian hackers to look for the guy, and it turned out that well, CNN hasn't told us the identity, so we don't know if it's Putin or the KGB, maybe.
But they might reveal the identity later on if he doesn't keep up with the good behavior.
Yeah, if he doesn't stop,
then we'll know if it's Putin or not.
As long as he stops this ugly behavior, he's fine. He will not be doxxed. But yeah, well, it's completely insane, this thing. The video is 10 years old. There's this wrestling thing, and somebody edited it with the CNN logo, and well, nobody understands why CNN is so either they are so stupid as they look, or they are so I don't know how to say, but this is not normal behavior to go and find a guy who cares about the identity of the guy who did the editing. I have no idea. And then claiming that he's anti-Semitic and racist. His anti-Semitism was to publish a photo with the collection of the CNN journalists who happen to be Jewish.
Happen to be Jewish.
And
quite a many of them.
Yeah. and then claiming that blacks form 13% of the population in the US, but they commit 50% of the crimes. So how is this racist? It's a fact. But for some reason, the guy apologized. But I don't know. The apology seems too that he's exaggerating in this apology, and maybe this guy will come up next week and saying that, yeah, my name is this and that, and here's the phone call that CNN made, and no, here's the email that they made, here's my phone call, and he will dox himself. Because I don't understand why he's so afraid. Of course, the leftists hate speech. Maybe he'll lose his job, maybe, but maybe not, because many understand this humor. Maybe his employer also understands that maybe there's no threat for him, because we've watched many videos about this case, and all the people that comment on this case, they are saying that if his identity is revealed, his life will be destroyed. But I'm not sure that that would be the case, because there's nothing wrong with the thing. And this CNN shit that if he continues, he will be doxxed. But first of all, he has removed his user account on Reddit, so he can create another one on Reddit or elsewhere. So what is CNN planning on stalking him? He's
checking every Facebook account or every Twitter account that makes such gifs.
Yeah, and now there's millions of people that are doing video or memes about this shit. And one that I would like to see is the scene from the movie Reservoir Dogs, in which where's the music stuck in the middle of with you, and the guy is cutting. You should add the CNN logo on that, or one of the Saw movies where people are tortured. You should add a scene. I myself, I don't know how to.
I was thinking of the Pulp Fiction scene. You know, that I'm gonna go medieval on your ass.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's also one good scene that should be edited. But I don't. I'm not. I don't know how to edit movies or videos in such a way. If someone if some viewer knows what software to use, we'll take that. Also, we have this super chat feature with which you can buy some advertising time on our comment section, and that's last week we got some money, and it's very nice to that we get help. And this week we have done also live streams in Finnish and have gotten some good money, and it helps the Finnish economy also, because the VAT is calculated and so on. So we can pay for more refugees in this country.
Yeah, and about this entire blackmail case, of course, the social media outrage created in the US, it's in a completely different scale than it is over here. And of course, we have these racism outrages over here in Finland too. But over here, they mostly are like 2 days worth of headlines and a handful of angry tweets from leftist politicians. But that's pretty much about it. Like, it's not death threats and like this constant hate towards you and doxing and stalking you and your loved ones. It's not nearly as serious. So in that sense, I understand why Americans might be so much more wary about getting doxxed. But I don't think there is a real threat to the guy anymore, because the only way CNN could make this look even worse for themselves would be to dox that guy, like to go ahead with this if the guy did something they didn't like. So I don't think they are going to go ahead with it, regardless of what the guy does.
Well, at this point, you never know what they are capable of, the level of stupidity that they are capable of, because these guys, even if the whole internet knows that this is bullshit, they have their audience that believe all the lies they are telling you. So maybe one CNN viewer once in a while will check the internet and see another viewpoint, but in the mainstream media, it's that these journalists, they are untouchable. Not like in India, but they have diplomatic immunity, so you cannot. Any other, for example, a policeman who would, if the police was mocked in this way that a journalist was, nobody would care. But the journalists, they are so I don't know what is their they start to whine that it goes against freedom of speech, that the free press must remain free and so on. But nobody has done anything to them, and it's not incitement to. Nobody is going to hit a journalist, even if they deserve it, because they're so stupid. But for some reason, they keep this narrative going on. That because I think the only reason is that they have their audience that listens to them, but in reality, I think they know that they look very, very stupid to the rest of us.
And one thing that really struck me as especially like baffling was this victim box they had about inciting violence against reporters, and somebody is going to get killed. There was actually a reporter who said that Trump is going to get somebody killed. And at that moment, I really had to wonder, like, do these people actually believe in this themselves? Or are they just like bullshit artists saying whatever comes to their mind, just trying to play the victim, but not really believing that even themselves?
Well, maybe they are not self-aware. There's also this a bit older piece in which they are whining that Donald Trump is using Twitter and he can reach his audience or his voters directly without the influence of the media, and he can control the way that his voters are thinking. But hey, that's our job, and that's saying this on live TV is very stupid. But maybe they don't understand this thing. And what if this the CNN blackmail guy was untraceable, or had been untraceable, that they could not have found him, this Han asshole Solo? What if he had such an account that you cannot trace him to wherever in Tennessee, I think he is living? What would have they said? They would have said, yeah, this is Russian trolls, or what? The mainstream media is just killing itself by slow suicide, I think I would say. But for us, this is nothing new. It's just that even if this is nothing new, it just goes all the time further. Their stupidity just, and these journalists themselves probably have not found them. They paid for some IT
Professionals.
some IT nerds to stalk this guy. He had written, he had a long history in using Reddit, and he had told some details about his personal life that helped to find him. But I don't know, these IT nerds who are following the journalist's order, they must be like, no, what are we doing? Okay, I must do this because if I don't do it, somebody else will do it. But why is nobody telling these idiots that, hey, this is maybe not the best idea? And this whining about violence and shit, journalists are themselves all the time. They have been spreading hate against Donald Trump with Madonna case, in which she wanted to blow up the White House. The
Kathy Griffin.
Kathy Griffin with the ISIS video and all this shit. They are all the time spreading hate and really causing attacks that can be seen and proven. But if Donald Trump retweets a very innocent GIF, that is the worst thing ever for them. And I don't know, maybe probably they have friends that maybe are saying that, hey, you are stupid, but maybe not. And there's also this the Project Veritas that had published some very good hidden camera footage of the producers that are saying that, yeah, this Russian shit is there are no Russians here. We are just saying this because of the ratings. That if we had our news are so dull that nobody would follow us, but if we keep on with this fake news, we get at least 1 million viewers. So, well, it's the best we can do. So.
And like, how are you going to walk back on that? Like, if you have been pushing that story and you have been so certain about it, or at least made it seem that you are so certain, how are you going to then come out, okay, we didn't have evidence at all at any point?
Well, and if
how are you going to admit that?
if you get caught on a hidden camera saying this, you can always say, yeah, but that's a hoax.
Yeah, and there are actually people who believe that, and that's something we need to keep in mind, that most people aren't like us. Most people simply believe what the media says. And I was talking about the CNN tapes on my Facebook wall, and it didn't take long for the first person to come there. Yeah, but they said that the Van Jones tapes are fake. And I was like, have you listened to the tapes? How can they be fake? There's no way you could like selectively edit footage to make that. It's obvious that they are real. And anyone saying that they are fake clearly hasn't seen the tapes. So they are simply repeating what the mainstream media is telling them and assuming it's true. So there are a lot of people who simply take the mainstream media's word for it. It's just pathetic.
Yeah, we have lots of comments, and one super chat message, 5 Canadian dollars. I see Finland enabled this as well as Ireland. Joined a little late, as I just seen Luke Rudowski and others were beaten in Germany.
Yeah, there are the riots going on in Hamburg.
Yeah, there's the G20 meeting, and there's peaceful protests that have been going for.
I heard that there's live stream from the riots, but because we have been making our Finnish podcast, I haven't had time to check them out myself.
Yeah, it's been going for over 24 hours, and German police are outnumbered because the peaceful Antifa protesters are protesting too peacefully and throwing Molotov cocktails and things like that. So that's but and there's lots of, maybe I think there's 20,000 protesters there, and
I heard that 100,000.
Well, we have to probably check that, but That just shows that the protesting thing is completely useless. Whatever number you have, whatever you do there, it's useless. You are just fighting against the police, and the police are just following the orders of the government that keep these guys out.
Like, these guys have been protesting each of these summits for such a long time. What have they achieved with that? Right, they have been fighting the cops on the streets.
And they are so stupid that they don't know how to use the publicity that they could get, that they would hold some intelligent speeches, that they would say something and put that on video and make a so-called viral video. We in Finland, we have had these close the borders protests, which all have been peaceful. There's never been any violence. The only violence has come from the leftists that are trying to disturb us with their noise and their bullshit. And the critics have said that, yeah, but there's a couple of hundred people only. The biggest protest had maybe 700 people in 2015. And but I all in every, or not in every, but not all, but in some protest,
not all.
in some protest, I reminded the people that, okay, we are not, there's not a lot of people present, but even if we had 100,000 people here demanding that the Finnish border would be closed, it would not change the government's plans. You can only modify the system by voting people that will close the border, like in Hungary or Estonia or the former communist countries. And so this protesting thing, it's just okay. It's nice because if we have some nice speeches and put them on the internet, we can get more voters for us, and
it's also good spirit raising for the people who are already on our side. They get to meet people, they get to network, they get to have a fun afternoon with each other.
But these Antifa G20 protesters, what are they doing? Okay, we also are against globalization and we are against all this, but what is the use in fighting some police officers?
Let's go and light some cars on fire and throw some bricks at cops. Like, I don't think I would hear that from my far right friends anytime soon.
And the media's reaction is just they portray these people as freedom fighters, or they don't write anything negative. I have not seen anything like that. But if it was our side that was throwing gas bombs on police officers, that would be the worst. It would be like the Holocaust all over again. And but probably our viewers know this, so I don't want to.
So the one case I mentioned also in the description box, which is the local SJWs literally driving themselves insane with their obsession with this migrant business. And as I've mentioned, or as we mentioned in several earlier videos and live streams, for months there have been protests going on in Helsinki. On the one side of the protests are the illegals with their right to live demonstration. And that camp consists of these illegals who have come to Finland as asylum seekers. They have gotten their final negative decision, but they are refusing to leave the country. And their supporters, which are basically these Finnish spinsters, like 95% women, lonely women, as you can guess. And they're just there trying to get positive asylum decisions for these guys. And of course, it's not going to happen. There's no way you can control Finnish immigration policy from like some camp at the marketplace. that's not going to happen. The immigration office isn't going to listen to these people. And on the other side are the Finland First people who are demonstrating against these illegals. They want them to be deported. And this situation has been going on for months. And this is has become something of a soap opera over here, because everything is live streamed from there. These Finland First protesters especially like to live stream pretty much everything they do. And they do that on a daily basis. So that's something that both right and left wingers like to do, that they follow these live streams every day. And there are these left-wing forums that are filled with discussion over the events that have been going on today. And so it's basically like a real-time soap opera, watching what's going on in those camps with those protests.
Yeah, the illegals started protesting on February the 11th on the railway square in Helsinki, and that caused the reaction from Finland First to go and camp next to them on the same square. And some nationalists have said that that's bad publicity, they should not do that. But it has to be said that it has been very good, because the illegals will not do these live streams. So we get the information from the nationalists that are on the same square, and so we know what is happening, and we don't need to follow the mainstream media, which is completely biased in this case. The Finnish media is usually very biased, not in all cases, but in this migration thing, they are. You should not believe a word they are saying. And in this case, it's currently day 145 or something, and you have from every day you have maybe at least one live stream from that square, and they just tell that what is happening there. And now last week the camps got dismantled, and now the illegals are looking for another spot to put their tents. But why the nationalists or Finland First has been there camping is to protest the fact that these illegals have been led to camp there, and that's not a protest. A protest is a short or maximum 1 day long event in which you say what you have to say and then you go home. But these guys, they have been camping on the railway square in central Helsinki, and
the cops are doing nothing about it, even though these guys themselves tell anyone who's willing to listen that they are in the country illegally.
Yeah, and there's the Finnish church and other stupid organizations that have been paying these guys. They have also planned to pay for actors to stay there, because it's a very long thing, and in February it was very cold. It was like, I don't know, minus 20 degrees Celsius at some nights. So it's not an easy task to stay there. And if Finland First had not been there, we would not know really what happened there. We only would have the mainstream media's point of view, and it's not accurate. Also, there would not have been this public pressure to get rid of these illegal campers. Of course, now that they have left the railway square and that the Helsinki police has stated that it is not anymore permitted to camp there. But had they not been there, the situation probably would be still ongoing, and now that has been taken care of, and we are just waiting what is happening next. And also on Friday, when they left the railway square, they marched to the migration office, and during that march there was these Finland First guys who followed them with their live stream cameras, and we can see that they are very aggressive. They have attacked some people. They with their megaphones.
There was some teenage gay couple walking on the streets, and one of the migrants from the Right to Live demo assaulted these guys.
Yeah, and the best thing is that the organizer of the camp was standing next to this, and she saw the assault, but she has not said anything. She has not commented on that topic. Also, they have tried to attack with megaphones, and a megaphone is if you hold it next to one's ear, it can deafen somebody. Also, there's also one thing. The next day, the camp was dismantled. There was the Helsinki Pride event, this march for equal rights or whatever for transsexuals and homosexuals and so on. And these illegals from the Muslim countries were invited as special guests to follow that. And I went also there, and I covered that event, and but I got attacked by some idiots that I was live streaming, and I got the finger, I got lots of they tried to censor me with they came with umbrellas to block my view and everything. I just went there I don't have anything against sexual minorities or anything. I just don't agree with the ideology that is. The gay pride started with, or nowadays it's called Pride, but it started with in Berlin, I think. The techno parade. It was a music event, but in that music event there was, for some reason, there were lots of gays, and then it evolved into this gay pride, and now it's called only Pride, in which they push every minority's pride. And in fact, nobody cares about this anymore. It's the current year, so nobody cares.
Yeah, it's interesting that they protest to the Finnish people, who are among the most modern when it comes to these questions. So there's no need to convince them. And they had such condescending signs and banners in that protest, like, we are all humans. Oh, really? I didn't know gays were humans. How nice of you to tell me. Like, what do you take me for? Like,
at worst,
I'm that terrible a person that I don't think gays are actually people.
No, they're Homo sapiens.
And it was so funny that they said that they were demonstrating for minority rights. And Jonas is a minority, and it is his legal right to film these public events in public places. And these guys, first of all, they blocked his camera, and they had tried to get the security guards to remove him, but the security guards had known better. They knew it would be illegal, so they had refused to do so. So they protest for minority rights by taking the one single minority person who actually believes in some sort of equality and attacking his rights. But anyway, about these illegals protest, there is this one woman who's been basically the leading figure of these protesting illegals, and she is Mariana Toiviainen. and she is a priest of the Evangelical Lutheran Church. And you can see her.
She's a priest.
Yes, she really is a priest, and in the biggest church of Finland. And because the Evangelical Lutheran Church she is the red-haired woman being held by the police officer in there. And because the Evangelical Lutheran Church is a part of the public offices in Finland, it also means that she's not just a priest, she's also a public official, because church also handles some public duties. So she is bound by the same regulations as the rest of the public officials. And she has been very passionate, let's say, about these migrant rights. And she has been there day in and day out protesting for these guys, handling their cases. And during this last spring, people started to notice that her already pretty unbalanced behavior was getting worse by the minute, that she was clearly a bit unbalanced to begin with. That she said it in newspapers that she has some history of mental health issues and a lot of different issues in her background. And this spring we started to really see her spiraling mentally. And maybe around a month ago, I started saying to my friends that, okay, do you think Mariana is going through a nervous breakdown? She's starting to get pretty erratic. And she really did, which means basically that she is on Facebook 24/7 asking whether she could give her passport to some random Afghan so that they could move to Finland. Then she asked, please tell me some quick way to get 300,000 euros so that I could bring my paperless Afghans over here. And I'm willing to do anything but prostitution. And then she, for example, think it's a great idea to hire actors to their protest because they are lacking women and children. There are not enough refugee women and children. So she says it on her public Facebook page that it's a great idea to hire some actors if only they had the money. So they could hire refugee-looking women and children for their protest. So it would raise more sympathy in people. And she has pulled these very bizarre antics that have gotten, and that these Facebook posts, and they are only the more minor issues. What the situation you saw on that earlier photo in which the police were holding her, there was a deportation going on. But the police were handling a deportation of some Afghans who had gotten their final negative asylum decision. And this woman went there absolutely out of her mind, completely hysterical. She was throwing herself in front of the cop cars, claiming the cops were trying to run her over. She was acting completely erratic. So naturally the cops held her back, but they didn't arrest her at that time. But this week there was another deportation to Afghanistan.
Before that, there was also a few weeks ago, she was in the National Museum. There was a UN convention with some big guys there, and she tried to bribe the officials and offered 5,000 euros to, and for that money she wanted to get 2 Afghanis in the UN event. And there's this Facebook group called Refugee Hospitality Club Finland, and in there she's all the time whining about the money, that she has no money and so on. But just a few weeks ago she would have given them 5,000. So she's very unstable. I don't know what is the ICD code for that. Yeah, we got $10 from we will read the super chat messages. Thank you for your brave and unrelenting efforts. Keep fighting the good fight, from Red Daikini. Also, what has she been doing? That was about it. But yeah, on Monday there was a protest in the Helsinki airport.
Yeah, and this woman Mariana and her leftist buddies were there to resist the deportation flights. And those deportation flights are a number completely on their own when it comes to Mariana. She, for example, has given people illegal advice about how to resist these deportation flights. She has even told people to run to the airport runway so that the airplanes couldn't take off. She has also said that if you are on a plane with a person you notice is being deported, refuse to go back to your seat so that the airplane can't leave. And that, of course, is illegal, and you will get huge fines, both from the court and as damages to the airline. So no, don't do that. And she's a priest telling people to run to block airplanes on runways.
And before this, on Monday there was this riot against the deportations, but before there was also this event that she went to the airport and went to the Turkish Airlines customer service, and she presented herself as the priest of the Finnish church and so on.
So she constantly uses that as a source of authority for herself.
And we have complained to the church. We are not members of the Finnish church. We don't believe in that shit. But we have made complaints that, hey, this, and the officials in the church, they said, yeah, but she's okay. She's a priest, but she is a. Those are her personal opinions. But if they are her opinions, why does she wear the whatever priest outwear? And why does she says that, hey, hello, I'm from church? And she started ranting to the customer service that we will boycott you, and
cursing and yelling, completely hysterical.
Yeah, we had a friend from that happened to. He was attending the Glastonbury concert in the UK, and he just happened to come back from that concert, and he noticed that this idiot is in the airport, and she was behaving very ugly, like the CNN blackmail dude, but or even worse maybe. But so she's asking this Turkish Airlines customer service, do you agree with the Finnish government? Are you, so what if the Finnish police they spent a lot of money in these deportation planes. It's like 200,000 euros every flight to get 10 Afghanis, just 10, because they have to send as many police officers as the deportees, and they have to put in a doctor, a human rights observer, a lawyer, and they have more personnel on this flight. And the flight goes through Tbilisi in Georgia, and so it's a very long. It's I think 7,000 kilometers, 5,000 miles. It costs a lot of money, and they get only 10 guys. From the beginning of the year, they have gotten 50 Afghanis out of this country, and at least one of these guys had lived for 19 years, or says that he has lived for 19 years. So these are not the 2015 invasion guys, but they are just
like maybe in 100 years we can get to those guys with this pace.
So we never see protest against flights to Somalia, so we can deduce that there are no flights to Somalia. To Baghdad, they are not deporting any Iraqis. It's just this Afghan thing because the European Union concluded an agreement with that country that you can deport these guys, but it's very inefficient. They should use boats, and it should be much faster. And we are using lots of police forces for this completely use. And if you get one guy out, it means that this guy has been spending 2, 3, 4 years here. He has had his application reviewed, and then he has complained about that negative decision, and on that he has again complained. And so it's, I don't know, it's, I would say at least, well, I don't know, tens of thousands of euros that have been spent on one guy. For what? We were supposed to help the refugees, but what are we doing? We are spending money on fucking return flights and on these hotels that they call asylum centers. This is complete bullshit. And we said this. I'm a councilman in this city, and in 2 years there's the election to the parliament. We want to be able to say this there, that stop this insanity. The Geneva Convention, the New York Convention, the refugees. This is outdated shit. And if you read the Geneva Convention, it has nothing to do with the Finnish law that because the Finnish government and our officials, they are these leftists. All of them are leftists, or they are the loudmouth. So they might be some let's say nationalists that are working there, but they do not dare to say anything because the others are bullies, these leftists. And these, if you say something against them, then they will say that, hey, this dude is racist, he must go. And that way it changes. Our law is not, it's not what we are doing. We are not applying the law, and this is the thing that should be mentioned. But to return to this Monday event, in which at 2 a.m. one plane left Finland to Kabul, fly me to Kabul. There was this maniac priest, and the good thing is that also a couple of nationalists followed these illegal migrants there, because they held a protest in front of the airport. They were using their stupid Antifa drums. They were causing a mess in the middle of the night in front of the international airport. They are harming our tourism. If there's a tourist that flies into Finland, and the first thing he sees is these idiots, he will say no.
Like cops dragging some priest away.
And
what are they going to think about us?
So it's not the first time that they are protesting there, but this, I think, was the first time that there was nationalists that went there with them, and they were live streaming. They had 3 live streams. Of course, they also live stream, but nobody watches their shit. They had 300 viewers, whereas the nationalists had 3 times more viewers each, and there were 3 streams from there. And
even the leftists prefer the nationalist streams. Even they don't watch the streams made by the other leftists because they are so boring.
Yeah, their stream was from the middle of the riot, so the noise was very loud. On what is this Antifa shit? The band is called Rhythm of Resistance, and they are hiding their faces, and they are just
Just playing the drums,
yeah,
hours in and out.
the drums, and so you you didn't see anything, and it was a vertical video, so that should be banned. And you could see at some point you could see some riot police helmets, but it was not. You didn't get the big picture, but from the other point of view, you could see what was happening. Of course, the three nationalists that were streaming, they should have not stayed in the same place, but one should have gone inside and so on. But never mind. It was very good to be there, and
as I said, the Prinko priest was there, and she got arrested by the police officers while she was inside the airport. And she claimed that she was just there to fly to Kabul herself, that she was planning to, or that she had a ticket to the flight that was leaving for Kabul at 2 a.m.
It was a charter flight. You cannot buy fucking tickets, you idiot.
It was a charter flight, so it wasn't possible that she had a ticket. And let's imagine she wanted to buy a ticket to that plane. That wouldn't be possible either, because you would have to have a visa to travel to Afghanistan. And to get that visa, you would have to go to the Afghanistan embassy. And the closest one is in Oslo, Norway. So I don't think she flew to Norway and back for her visa before her trip to the airport. So no, she wasn't going anywhere. And she didn't have any luggage with her. So of course the cops immediately knew that she was there to cause trouble. And then they arrested her. And on the next day, the police officers said it on the newspapers that they had arrested 2 people from that protest, and that they had sent 1 person to a psychiatric evaluation because they got the feeling that not everything was right with that person. And I immediately said, when I saw that story, I told you, that's Mariana, no doubt it's her. And of course, it turned out that it was her. She admitted to it herself on her Facebook page. She said that the cops were completely violent against her, and that she was forced to go to a doctor, and that she wasn't let go from the doctor's office before she said that she doesn't believe in God. And for some reason, I don't think a psychiatrist would ask a priest to say that she doesn't believe in God. So that most likely was one of Mariana's delusions again. She seems to have a very strange idea of what reality actually is. So most likely she was imagining things or lying again, because she also is a very manipulative person.
Yeah, I don't think she's delusional. She's just, she makes up shit, and she knows, she is conscious about this. She knows what she's doing, but she just likes to make up stuff. Because what kind of doctor would ask, do you believe in God? While the patient is wearing and is a known priest. No, I do not. In fact, the answering that she does not believe in God, that would be a reason to arrest or put her in an institution, because if she is a priest, shouldn't she be believing? Or
yeah, it would be a pretty radical decision to be a priest if you don't believe in God.
But I'm just working for the church, and I'm just, what the fuck?
So we have gotten to this point that these people are just driving themselves insane with this work, that they are getting themselves into psychiatric evaluations because of this fucking migrant obsession they have. And as June said, these people have no need to worry. Like the Finnish government has managed to deport 50 Afghans this year. And I guess that's more than the amount, or less than the amount we get in a week. So no, they are not going to run out of Afghans anytime soon. So they shouldn't worry. And it was, I think, last summer or last autumn when I first noted in one of our Finnish live streams that it seems to me that these anti-racists in general in Finland are radicalizing, because the development isn't as far over here as it is, for example, in Germany or France, where they are like openly clashing with the cops with very strong force. It's not like that over here. Yes, there of course has been some anarchist violence, but it's usually very limited. The groups are pretty small, and it's usually limited to like smashing like store windows or other public property, but not really attacking police officers and things like that. Those occasions are pretty rare. But now we are seeing that process starting to evolve in Finland, that we are moving towards that direction, that these leftists are radicalizing themselves, that they are getting these ideas that there is some inhumane state that's against them and which is trampling human rights of these Afghans and Iraqis, and that they are the only thing standing in the way of this, and that they are the only people who can stand up for these poor little refugees. And because they work themselves to believe in this delusion, of course they start to radicalize. And when they start noticing that their protests aren't working, these people have been protesting for months, the immigration office isn't taking them seriously, they are not going to change anything for them. So of course they get frustrated. So now they are resorting to more and more illegal means, such as this resisting of police officers. And just in a few years, it's going to be that like rock throwing and Molotov cocktail throwing against the cops and against other officials, against other people.
Yeah, and these Finnish anarchists, they are so tamed, so they don't dare, they have not dared to do anything in the previous years, but now, as they are in contact with better cultures that can be very violent, they evolve, and they are getting more violent. And this is the way it has also gone in Sweden and Germany and France. The French were not like that in the 50s, or the Germans were not like that. But now with the or decades before, they were with the Turks and so on. So they got violent, and now if you look at Hamburg, they don't care if they kill a police officer. But in Finland, we still have to wait a few years before we get to that point. But we will get there, and that's we are against this. But we, for some reason, are the bad guys in the mainstream media's eyes. And well, if you look at, for example, the CNN blackmail thing, you understand how the media, how they think. They will never dox a Antifa guy who plots a terrorist attack or does something bad, but someone who writes something that should not be written, or someone who makes a meme that should not be done, that is, basically it's like the Soviet Union, or what is called this anarcho-tyranny, that the people who behave according to the law, they will be punished, they will be persecuted, they will be on trial. But the guys who loiter and who create real violence, they will be just, maybe they will get a fine, but they will get every reason to say that, but he was a victim of society and he didn't really mean this. And okay, next, no problem. But what Swan said about the supply of these migrants, it is infinite. I will show a map from I don't know who is watching on where you are from. Are you from the United States, or but if you are from Europe, you know that we have this Mediterranean that gets, and there's refugee helping organizations that go and fetch these guys, and they are working together with people smugglers. There's if you watch Lawrence Southern's YouTube things, you will know about this. So 3 minutes battery on this. So here's here's a short map on the thing, and we will move to the next subject. But I just want to show you quickly that here's the map. So here's Libya. So this is Africa, and the blue line is the limit of the territorial waters, and the yellow dots are the so-called rescue operations in 2014. The blue dots are 2015, and the red ones are last year's operations. So the rescue boats are going all the time nearer to the coast of Libya.
And actually going to Libyan waters, and where they are a couple of hours away from the coast of Libya. And from there, they travel back 2 days to Italy.
And so basically they go to the coast and get them from there.
Yeah,
and
so it's completely insane.
So there's the international people smugglers that that buy or hire some rusty boats and send them to the Mediterranean. And then there are so-called humanitarian organizations that go here to fetch them and bring them back to, or bring them to Europe, where in reality they should bring them back to Libya. But and this is not far from Italy, or there's maybe 100, 200 miles to Italy from there. And that in Italy, there's in a few months there's 80,000 migrants that have come. And so here you can see that there's 12 miles from the Libyan coast, boats like this. They say Boat Refugee Foundation, and these. And if you, here's the bigger picture of the operation. So you can see that Italy is here and Libya is here. But for some reason they come here to rescue the people smugglers boats. And unlike Australia, we are doing this shit. And then when they get to Italy, they travel to France, and from there they go to the UK, or some come to Finland also. And this is if we don't take the Australian way to tackle this problem, it will never end. There's the growth is well, the African population is quadrupling in a few decades. So this is not. We should stop this. We don't even need to build a wall. We just need to stop these humanitarian organizations that are working with smugglers. And the mainstream media will not tell this. And the only people who are either talking about this or acting against this is the people the government wants to get shut down. This is insanity.
Well, exactly. And Finland actually experienced terrorist threat not so long ago, when there was a threat against the church in the rock. I think that's the name in English for it, which is a church in Helsinki. And what makes it special is that it has been built inside the rock base of the city. Apparently the police was made known of some sort of plans of an attack against the church. And because there were these plans, they put concrete blocks in front of the church. So I assume it most likely was some sort of a truck attack or something. They cut the heads up on. And you could show the article.
This church has been featured in an ISIS magazine half a year ago.
Yeah, so that could be where they got the idea from. And of course, the Church of Finland has something to say about this terrorist threat. And it's not going to be anything smart or sane in any way. And a bishop of the Evangelical Lutheran Church, Irja Askola, said about this terrorist threat that these terrorist attacks and threats are global injustices screaming at us. So it's injustice that drives people to commit terrorist attacks. And imagine that this bishop, her first reaction is to blame the victim. That, okay, look at this, you have it so good. So it must mean that everyone who has it worse than you must be a victim of your injustice. Because justice should be that everyone has the same stuff, even though they didn't work for it equally. It's this woman in here. And she says that this terrorist attack threat too is a sign of this global injustice. And this is like this Finnish cuckoldry in its purest essence. That the first idea coming to the minds of these people is to blame the victim, blame the Western people for all of this. And that's such a lousy excuse. Like, if it's injustice that drives people to commit terrorist attacks, why aren't the child laborers of, say, India or Taiwan or China blowing up over here? Like, why aren't the victims of like human trafficking, why aren't they blowing up? There are all sorts of injustice going on in the world. And there are people who have gotten much worse of a deal globally than, say, these Middle Eastern people who have their oil wealth and a lot of stuff. Many poorer peoples are only dreaming about it. They have just squandered their chances themselves with their medieval religion. And this is it. They are immediately making excuses, even though the attack hasn't even happened. It was thwarted. Still, immediate excuse making for the attacker, because they know it's a Muslim, so there must be excuses. If they had an idea that it might be a white man, of course they wouldn't be making these excuses. It would be pure evil then. And I think it's just so pathetic that Finnish people are like this, that there are people like this in Finland, because if like our people aren't going to have the self-respect to protect themselves and their own people from these external threats, and have the self-respect not to throw themselves at the mercy of other people, begging for their approval like this, saying that we are the guilty ones, we are the ones who are making injustices towards you, please forgive us, dear terrorists, for being so unjust towards you. And I don't know, this is a trait only known in white people. Like, no other people on this planet are this dumb and are this self-destructive, that if you try to pull this kind of bullshit on any other nation, they wouldn't have any of it. Like, you can't do this in Japan. They are not going to take these people in. They don't give a shit about the injustices or the perceived injustices. They care about their own people, as they should. And imagine trying to pull this shit, say, in Israel. They will come at you with full force. Americans, they even though they are Westerners, they still have some balls left, and they most likely will come at you with full force if you try to attack them. But Europeans are such cocks that they have made it known to ISIS and all these other bad guys that they just get to kill us with no consequence, that nothing is going to come from it.
And I found this article very epic. It says that they're installing permanently these concrete blockings, so no truck will be able to attack the church, and you should not give in to fear, because it's very peaceful. And here they have there are some guys from Chicago. They had not heard about this, but they are not afraid, and they say that shit can happen anywhere. Either I'll stay home or I can travel the world. Helen Kors says, and there's some Swedish idiots that say the same stuff. Finland, Sweden, Denmark, and Norway, they feel safe. This idiot here says. There's local people that, they are a bit worried about the problem. And there's a British woman also there. They say you cannot give in to fear. And there is a guy, a church official, that says that, it's peaceful in here and it's normal, and we have as many visitors as before. And he says that now the church is safer than ever because of the concrete block. So diversity is our strength, because if
concrete blocks are our strength.
Because if there had not been a threat, they would not have installed this.
So diversity has actually made them safer, because of diversity they now have these concrete blocks. Like, there's a logic behind this.
And very often they compare these Somalis and all this nonsense multiculturalist bullshit to the Silicon Valley, because in the Silicon Valley there's people from many backgrounds. There's Indians and so, and with this diversity, they create innovations. So our innovation is this concrete walls or concrete
And it's
things, so you cannot drive a truck there. But hey, what if there's a bomb or
or someone just decides to stab people, like or shoot people.
Yeah, or nail bombs like Manchester, but whatever.
And I thought the headline was just hilarious that they are putting permanent concrete blocks in front of the church in the rock, and then there is this quote: "We mustn't give in to fear." Like, isn't that giving in to fear? Putting those blocks in there?
Take the blocks away. What are you, racist?
Like, are you afraid of something? Why do you have the blocks in there? And this is something the Finnish politicians and multiculturalists like to repeat a lot. Just like their international counterparts like to say that diversity is our strength, Finnish multiculturalists have their own phrases. And "we mustn't give in to fear" is one of them. And it's been said so much that it has turned into a joke that us racists use it as just a punchline, something, as an example of a meaningless phrase. And they are giving into fear. And at the same time as these politicians are telling us that we shouldn't give into fear, they are raising their own security. Like, they have bodyguards on them in every place. Even when they are on just some small town marketplace meeting their voters, the voters who aren't in any way dangerous for them, who they don't need to fear, but they still have the bodyguards around these days. And so they are giving into fear, but we aren't supposed to.
Yeah, and this church was featured in an ISIS propaganda magazine called Dabik half a year ago, and it says that, I don't know if it's readable, but ISIS calls this a pagan church in Finland in their article, and this is the reason that this was probably they wanted to attack this particular church. And so here are the concrete blocks, and here is the idiot who says that I didn't know. So this is and today the police said that we are now slowing the investigation because maybe there was not such a big threat, but they are still looking into the matter.
And I think maybe we could pick up about the convicted asylum seeker. What was the headline in there? We now have a bit of a different setting because Younes managed to mess up his laptop right before our live stream, so he can't open his browser in there. We usually would do this so that he would take care of the screen sharing, but now we have to use this other laptop for that. So, oh, wait a minute.
Which one? Also, we have to make the BuzzFeed test on how white we are.
Yeah, that we definitely have to feed in. I think we maybe should take it right after this one, so we will be sure to have time for it. Now, let's see.
So yeah, there's an asylum seeker who was convicted this week. He had sex with 12 to 14 years old, and with 12 to 14-year-olds, and Well,
Yes, he was a man called Ahmed Arsalani, and he's 22 years old, and the court gave its decision on the case in the end of June, and they found him guilty of 2 gross cases of child sex abuse, to like your average cases of child sex abuse.
aggravated.
Yeah, and 2 assaults. And this guy came to Finland in 2015 as an asylum seeker from Iraq, of course.
Oh,
And he said that he didn't know anyone from Finland, so he moved around in Helsinki and tried to find friends, finding friends from these 12 to 16-year-old girls. Okay. And they say that the first was victim A, whom he met by contacting her on Instagram in 2016. And the convicted guy and the girl, who was then 13 or 14 years old, started going out, but they had sex even before this. And the girl didn't want sex, but she was very drunk. And these Iraqis, they have this strategy they always use, that they target girls who are underage, girls who are too young to buy alcohol themselves. Then they lure these girls to come with them by offering them alcohol or drugs or something. And these girls often fall for it. They don't realize the danger. And often these girls are so young that they don't really even understand why these guys are wanting them to go with them. Because like imagine some grown man contacting a 12-year-old girl. A 12-year-old doesn't really have much of an idea what a 30-year-old man wants of her. So it's understandable that they might not know to be wary enough. And these migrants often abuse this. And it said that the migrant has sex with this middle school aged girl tens of times. And at times it also happened at this girl's home where this guy stayed over. Like, what was going on in that household? Like, you have a daughter who's 13 or 14 years old. How is it possible that a 22-year-old migrant gets to stay over for a sleep over there? Were these parents on drugs or something? What was going on? I think that should be checked out. And this convicted guy also hit the girl and her best friend several times when they had arguments. He was also found guilty of having sexual intercourse with another 14-year-old girl. And there was a third girl too. And he had molested this other 14-year-old girl at a birthday party he had thrown at his apartment for another teenage girl. So I think there must be something also wrong with the Finnish parenting. Like, what are they doing? They are allowing grown men to have sleepovers with their teenage daughters. They are allowing their teenage daughters to have some birthday parties at a grown migrant apartment.
No, not all.
Not all. Who are we to say even our dog landed in jail? Jules had to pick our dog Mugabe up at the dog pound last weekend and had to pay over 60 euros for it.
Yeah, but not all dogs.
And okay, let's get serious. And this man had pushed this 15-year or 14-year-old girl in some room, shoved her on the bed, and sexually assaulted her there. And the girl didn't scream for help because she didn't think anyone would hear, because there was so loud music in the apartment. And after the rape, the girl left the party and called her boyfriend to let him know what had happened. There was a fourth victim, and he met the girl in a shopping center and messaged the girl. They dated, and they had some sort of an on-off relationship. And that on one September night, this man, Ahmed Arsalan, had sent some messages to this fourth girl. They had together went to this man's apartment where they had sex, consensual sex. And the dating between this man and the girl continued for some time, but it ended during that fall. And the fifth victim, the man also met at the in downtown Helsinki, and the fifth victim was 12 at the time. And apparently, this case of consensual sex must mean that the girl is under the age of 16 when you can't legally have a consensual sex. Any sex with a person older than 16 is rape, or at least a sexual abuse. And this guy had approached the 12-year-old, the victim number 5, by winking at her, whistling at her, and following her outside the mall. And there he had told the girl that she was pretty and asked for her phone number. Then she started sending messages to this girl, and as I said, she started promising her alcohol and asked her to stay over. And as I said, this is a common strategy used by these Iraqis. They lure these girls with alcohol. The girl said no several times, but in the end gave in to these requests. And on the very same day that the sleepover was supposed to happen, the man sitting next to this girl sleepover. Of course, it's a sleepover.
But
like, it's a completely normal thing to have your girls 20, your middle school age daughters, 22-year-old migrant boyfriend,
and this is
for sleepover.
This is just a case that is being reported by the mainstream media, but there must be tons of these cases, and they get on trial only if they get caught and if the police investigates, and if so there must be tons of these things, and this is just one case that gets in the media. In the meantime, we got $5 from Eugene Fisher, who says do the same if you can, and also we got £5 from JT Smith saying please donate to these lovely guys.
Yeah, thank you to both. And about this case, still the guy denied all of these cases of sexual intercourse, assault, and all the other deeds. And the court found his story to be very contradictory. And first of all, this guy claimed to be gay. And then second of all, he claimed that he doesn't use any substances at all. But all of these girls told pretty consistent stories. So yeah, of course they believe the girls. And this 22-year-old had hidden his true age and tried to pretend to be that he was between 16 and 20, depending on the situation. And the court found also that some of the victims had pretended to be older than they really were. But that legally doesn't change the fact for the older party, even if it's consensual sex, because it's the responsibility of the older party to check the age of the younger party.
And this thing that they claim that they are gay or they do not use any drugs or alcohol.
This isn't the first time we have heard this excuse.
Yeah, this well, nowadays they since they have noticed that it's more difficult to get asylum in Finland, because of course Sweden has been acting as this humanitarian superpower since the 80s, and it has been more traditionally the country in where they go. Finland is newer, and we had maybe 3,000-4,000 asylum seekers per year, while Sweden gets tens of thousands or even 100,000 asylum seekers, or Norway and so on. And so since Finland has now gotten more, we cannot be so so lenient on the matter. So we have to send them back. So they start to say also here that now I'm actually I'm gay, or I used to be Muslim, but now I think I'm converting to Christianity, because or they come up with these bullshit excuses. And in the for example, in Norway a few years ago, there was this taxi driver from, I don't know, Egypt or somewhere, who had initially gotten his asylum by saying that he's gay, but his hobby was to rape the customers in the taxi cab. So this is the same thing. Yeah, we got from Daniel Baim, we got $5, and from Shane Towell, we got $5 Canadian, and Andrew Howe sent us €2 saying, "I love you guys." Thanks. And so it is possible that amongst some of the asylum seekers, there are some legitimate sexual minorities that are really fleeing from the persecution that is happening in the Middle East. There might be some real Christians or some real atheists or some real gays that are really escaping the shithole that it is. But the problem with our asylum system is that we accept everybody. And for example, even in Finland, there's been stories in the mainstream media that in which an asylum seeker will say that in my room they have housed a guy that I had escaped from. And of course, we in Finland, it's the beginning, and it's very novice. But if you look, for example, at Germany, they have separated the asylum centers. You have some centers that house only Christians. You have asylum centers for only women. You have asylum centers only for sexual minorities, and so on. So they have this apartheid system, like in South Africa, that they have to keep them separated. And well, okay, it's natural to separate people, but now that they are separated, what happens when every one of those gets the residence permit? Then they will either mix in society, or they will move to the future ghettos that they will be forming, or they will. Speaking of Germany, they are, or these ghettos, or the other countries. So they are accepting people that persecute gays, that persecute women, and they are looking for their asylum applications and maybe grant them the asylum. So when these people who cannot be together all get the residence permit, how is this supposed to work, this multicultural heaven? It's insanity, and this should already tell that this must be stopped. Either there is legal migration, or there is no migration. The borders are completely shut. Here we got $20 from Eddie Imperial. Thanks.
Yeah, and Shane in there says, sorry, I'm not in Europe, but I'm in Alberta. Can Trudeau is destroying my province. Unemployment is very bad here. Have to watch my pennies, but love you guys. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, we feel you, Nika. We know who this Trudeau is. Black Pigeon Speaks has a nice way of introducing this guy, the substitute drama teacher, part-time prime minister.
Yeah, and I don't know, was there anything else on that, or should we move on to the test?
Yeah, there's this BuzzFeed test, but well, we had some other stuff, but maybe we should go on to the BuzzFeed test. I haven't seen this test. I'm eager to pass it.
Yeah, and I thought because this was a simple test of yes or no, or check the box if you have something. So we could do this together and ramp up our whiteness points like that we should get our shared whiteness score.
I understand that you have already tried the test.
Yes, I checked it out earlier today.
You got 15%.
Yes, I only got 15% white, and it told me, congratulations, you are not white. Congratulations.
I'm married to a black woman. well, I'm not yet married, but
yeah, it's like in that David Chappelle skit in which he was the black KKK guy, and when it turned out to him that he was black, he divorced his white wife because he didn't want to be married to a nigger lover.
So here's this test. I haven't seen this yet, but let's have a look.
Yeah. How stereotypically white are you? And this starts off well, that you have this like geeky looking, dumb looking girl as the stereotype of whiteness. That white people are never seen as cool or interesting or anything like that. They are just dumb and geeky. Okay, have you ever, check all that apply, felt bad for Lindsay Lohan?
No.
Yeah, no. For Taylor Swift?
I've heard the name, but I don't know who.
I don't know. I'm somewhat sympathetic to Jared Taylor Swift, but I don't think I've felt bad for him either. Conan O'Brien.
Why would have I felt bad for him?
Like, that's what I thought of too. Like,
yeah, he was fired from NBC, so that's now he's on a cable. I think a few years ago he had to.
Okay, Nick Lachey, and I don't know who this guy is.
I don't know. Refer to Meryl Streep as the best. No, Meryl Streep. She had a speech against Trump, so she cannot be the best. Maybe the worst.
And as Trump said, she's completely overrated. Even though mainstream media fact-checked that claim, and they found that she wasn't overrated because she has gotten a lot of trophies, a lot of awards. So there's no chance that you are overrated if you have trophies.
Okay. Yeah, I have read that. Have you ever yelled Wilson like them? What is this shit? Have you ever discussed Adam Sandler movies? Why?
Yes, I actually have. I think it maybe was a
Yeah, but
year
you
ago.
have already tried this test, so it's my turn now.
Okay.
Have you ever done the Top Gun high five and called it? No. Have you ever had an argument over a boy band? No.
Is some straight guy supposed to get the result of a white person with this test?
Have you ever YouTubed Ace of Base and then listened to several Ace of Base songs? No.
Yeah, I think this might be for women and gay guys only. Like there are no white men on this planet.
Have you
Straight men.
have you ever sang a Tenacious D song? No. Have you ever drunkenly sang an Elton John song? No. Have you ever listened to Bewitched? No.
I don't even know what that is.
No. Have you put Rebecca Black's Friday on a plane? No. Have you looked up the songs on Now That's What I know?
Like I haven't even heard who's Jesse McCartney. What's Bewitched?
Have you gotten up to no, 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 no? Have you
Have you danced with glow sticks? That's important.
you ever recommended an NPR podcast? Well, I have maybe once, maybe or twice, have said that maybe NPR could be.
What are spirit fingers?
No idea. Have you compared yourself or others to someone from Friends? No. To someone from Sex? No. Made a real life decision based? No. No. Talked about? No. Laughed out loud to yes.
Your one whiteness point.
No. Watch bowling on television.
And whose line is it anyway? These are some American things. Like Americans must be the only white people on the planet.
Watch bowling on television. Maybe I have seen, but I haven't watched it. Being jealous of a member of the royal family? No. Being jealous of Lauren Conrad? No.
Who's Lauren Conrad?
I don't know. No way, Jose. No. No. Rode a unicycle? No. Bicycle I have ridden, but decided to go sailing and then went sailing? No. Gone fishing? Well, not really, but I've been almost owned a pair of.
Just check it so you'll get one more whiteness point. It's close enough.
Well, I almost. No.
Haven't you ever taken a ski vacation? Really?
Not really. Maybe, but not really. Said I can't. Don't tan.
Being proud of your turtle. Who are these questions for? Have you never been the only white person in the room? This is important.
I don't know. Maybe.
I am the only white person in the room. So I have a very diverse social circle. I don't understand these questions. Being the ivory part of ebony and ivory, is that something Americans really do?
But I have seen NASCAR. So. Wanted to be on MTV's Real World.
Have you had your pony stolen?
Eaten poutine. Well, there is a poutine place in our city, and
we have often considered going there, but never found the time for it.
Almost.
Like we'll do this during this summer.
In a few weeks, I have.
You can check it preemptively.
Yeah. Okay. That's soup from a bread bowl. Maybe.
It's carved bread and you put soup in there.
Well, I could have. But declared your love of guacamole. Well, it's not declared, but
What's a kazoo?
it's an instrument. Thought about traveling.
Like black people don't apparently do that. Black people don't ever think about traveling back in time. That's something white people only do.
I have attended many film festivals. There's one in Lapland, Sodankylä Film Festival. But I've met a person from Portland, Oregon, a few years or about 10
That basically makes you a native citizen of Portland.
It was in the 90s that I met this.
If a Somali in a hockey shirt can be a Finn, you can be from Portland.
But I wanted to visit Portland.
I really don't understand these questions. What is a snuggie? Like they have too much of those weirdo people and words in this.
Maybe somebody can tell us what is a snuggie. Taking a group holiday photo shoot. Well, yeah. Use the hashtag white people problems because you are white.
Oh, you should start using that.
I haven't used the hashtag, but
you should use that at least once a day.
I've mentioned first world problems.
Being personally offended by a post about white people.
Well, not offended, but annoyed, let's say.
Okay, let's see your results. Congratulations, you are not white either. No. So you checked off 9 out of 100 possible white people scenarios. And
you're the first of your friends to perfect a new dance move and never have to worry about what level of SPF you should use.
Like, I think this is pretty racist because don't they always say that it's racist for whites to assume black people have a good sense of rhythm? So now they are saying that in this very anti-racist online media, that if you are black, then you must have a good sense of rhythm.
What do you think? LOL, fail, what the fuck?
What the fuck? So congratulations, you're not white. I'm really not sure what there's to congratulate about that. Like, no offense on you, I love
you are
but...
not black. This means you don't have age.
And actually, we got a $50 message from Lekusa. Thanks. And I don't know, would you like to cover some other topic? In the meantime, we still have some time to go before. We, for example, have a case of that planned honor killing. The Finnish serial killer set free, even though he was planning to strangle a teenage girl.
Yeah, the honor killing thing was.
You have read through the case file. Maybe you could explain this case.
On Wednesday, the Supreme Court of Finland declared that this guy has sent text messages and he has been very violent towards his sister, and he has threatened to kill the sister and all of her Finnish friends. And this was due to this guy's father, who had ordered him to make sure that this sister follows the Islamic rule. But we are not sure if this guy is a Muslim. And
yeah, it might be that he's a Christian.
Yeah,
atheist even.
It could. We should not jump to conclusions, but
my guess is he's a Presbyterian.
But they anyhow they say that, or there's the country of Iraq that is mentioned many times in the sentence. Here is the news, but I have only read the official sentence that was published, and it said that the guy had sent messages. I don't know if they are phone messages or Facebook message. Anyway, he has sent messages that if I get hold of this woman, I will shoot her. I swear on the name of Allah, she will die, and I will bury her with my own hands. And the funny thing is that there are police officers in the court who are testifying that, yeah, this guy, when we were separating them, he came to us and said that I will kill this woman and I will kill all of her Finnish friends also. And
they had 3 witnesses at the trial who all said that this guy was absolutely serious about his intent, so it wasn't talk.
And he was sober. That it was not, and he insisted that, yeah, I know this is illegal, but whatever, I will kill her and stay in jail for the required period of time. And as a first timer, I will only be jailed for half the time, and so on. So he was completely conscious about what he was doing, and he was chimping out like not all, but
not all.
Many of them have the habit of doing. And the Supreme Court just said, okay, he has confessed. He has. We have the witnesses. We have police officers testifying. We have whatever. But this is not a clear plan that he was planning to murder her. Okay, so but the Supreme Court, or in fact any court in Finland, there are these relativist idiots that have gotten the job there. So they only hire people that are leftists or Greens or some of that kind, and so they do not apply the law as it should be applied, and that is the problem. Because I would claim that if that was a Finnish guy that had acted like that, first of all, it would not have gone so high in the court. It would be that this guy is jailed, and okay, let's see in a few years that we'll see you in 5 years when the Finnish system lets you out and you go and really do something. Because we have no real punishments in this country. They give you sometimes 2, 3, 4 years, and you don't have to serve the whole time, and they let you basically after 2 years out, and that's it. There's no things like in the US. But also there's the stereotypical view that the US has very harsh penalties, but many times if you look at documentaries or news, you can see that mostly in the northern states in the US, in Michigan or those places, there are some guys that do some felonies that usually should get you in jail, but for some reason they do not apply those things. But then if you go to the south, then there's like 50 years in jail. The guy stole a Snickers bar, and 50 years. But
And one of our Finnish viewers reminds us that this released dude, he messaged about this honor killing to his father for several days. So it's hard to believe that he was drunken or that he was angry at the moment or something. The messaging continued for several days, the planning and the talk of the honor killing, and he had a background in beating up this sister of his. And the court said that it found it credible that there is a general threat of violence against this girl, but that because they cannot prove that this guy had a specific plan, like the method of the homicide and everything planned, that's why they are letting him go, even though they also found it credible that there is a threat of violence against this girl.
And not only a threat, but he had really actually assaulted her many times before.
And imagine that we always say that we have to help these people like women and gays because they have such a hard time in their own home countries where they are persecuted and oppressed, and we take them over here and we don't help them at all.
And
they get the same treatment they would get in Iraq. The girl would land in the same situation was she in Iraq, because there also she would be at the mercy of her brother, and we are also letting her to be at the mercy of her brother.
These same judges, they are feminists. They are ultra feminists. But when it's a brown dude, okay, well, okay, the girl is alive. No, okay, she's alive, so get the fuck out. The meeting is adjourned. Nothing happened. She's alive. We don't have a. There's no plan. It's just, yeah, I will kill you, your family, your friends. There was no nuclear strike anyway, so basically nothing happened. And people are angry about this madness, but still nothing happens. This shit has been going on for 10, 20, since the 70s, basically. And our parliament never addresses these issues. There's no modification in the law. There's nothing. They say that keeping people in jail is too expensive. Okay, so why do people pay taxes if you cannot keep the borders controlled? You cannot keep criminals in jail. You cannot do any. The only thing that you can do is house some fucking refugees and whine about solidarity and Africa and tolerance and all this shit. But no, yeah, we blah blah. And then there's this serial killer. He has strangled 2 or 3 women in the 80s or 90s.
Yeah,
and this is from our hometown.
And this guy was released today, or now on Friday, after he had planned to strangle a teenage girl. And this guy has a long history of crime and serious crime. And as it says here on his Wikipedia page, he is the only Finn ever to be categorized as a serial killer by the FBI.
It's a pity that there are no other languages about this, because many times a Wikipedia article will be translated, but there's only the Finnish version available. Maybe we should do it.
And his first murder was the murder of his mother, a 48-year-old woman, and he strangled her in 1985. This crime was left unsolved for the time being. And then his next homicide was committed the next year, 1986, when he met 2 12-year-old girls downtown in Oulu, our hometown, and offered them a few quid for helping him carry his bags of alcohol to his apartment. Inside his apartment, he locked one of the girls in the dressing room of his apartment, and another girl called Titta Mariana Kotaniemi, he threw on the ground and started strangling her with a belt. After some time, he let the other girl out of the dressing room or the storage room and committed sexual violence against her. The girl managed to pull herself out of his grip and run to the staircase. And the man then escaped to a nearby forest where the police reached him. He was drunk. And when this homicide of this 12-year-old girl, he murdered the first one and would have most likely murdered the second one if the girl hadn't escaped. When they started investigating this, they realized that this guy also has murdered his mother the year before.
Scott is saying that guy kind of looks like he ate a lot of paint chips when he was a kid, the nice lady ones.
Yeah,
and in normal countries, this guy would be executed.
Yeah, and they also called him the leather glove murderer or the leather glove strangler because he always wore his leather gloves when he committed these stranglings. And then...
Wait, there's one who is asking, did this guy get executed? No.
No, he was released.
He's been released several times.
And then he was sentenced in 1986, and at the first level of court sentenced him to 9 years and 7 months, but the higher court lessened his sentence to be 7 years. But instead of serving the full 7 years, because we are in Finland, he got out in 5. And around a year after his release, he strangled to death a 42-year-old woman in his grandmother's apartment in a town close by here, Kempele. And first he denied to have committed it and claimed that it was a trap set on him and that a stranger committed the crime.
This kolmas surma means third murder. So in the US, the serial killers, first they do their stuff, but then they are convicted and executed. But in Finland...
Or they sit in the jail and rot till they die.
In Finland, they commit first murder, they are jailed, then they are freed, then they commit another, then they are jailed, then they... we could end this cycle easily. This complete piece of shit should not... well, I'm all for human rights and so on, but this guy has proven himself not to be compatible with society.
So for this third homicide, he was sentenced to 10.5 years. So he should have been released in 2002 or 2003. And let's see. They say that he was released in November 2008. And that before this decision to release him, there was a study made on him to find out how dangerous he is. And it was found that he is not ready to live in the society. And still he was released. In 2009, he left from a restaurant to his apartment with a woman. In the hall of his apartment, he strangled the woman with both hands from behind. In 2009, on August, he ordered masseuse to her apartment, his apartment, through an announcement on the newspaper. He started strangling the woman while the woman was setting up the massaging table in his living room. And a month later, a third case. He ordered a cleaning lady to his house or apartment and started strangling her. But the cleaning lady also managed to escape. So these 3 women got lucky. He would have killed them if they hadn't managed, if they didn't manage to escape.
There's one person asking, what's up with the Finnish law system? My God. Well, we are not sure, but I think the problem is that they are applying the law as relativists and cultural Marxists and idiots like that, and they are autistic, and they like to let incest committers, rapists, murderers, and nutcases like that. They like to let them free. There was this Somali guy that has been for 20 years in mental institutions and prisons, and he had murdered in 95.
And also raped a very young child.
Raped in 93 or 4. He had come to Finland in the 90s. The first Somalis came from the Soviet Union. When the Soviet Union collapsed, the Soviet Union had invited lots of Somalis and all these third world guys to learn in the Soviet universities how to spread communism. And when the Soviet Union collapsed, they let them free and they escaped to Finland, and we got the first guys. And this Abdi Kadir Hussein, he came to Finland, and the first thing he did, he raped a 14-year-old in Turku, and he killed a 15-year-old in Tampere. And since then, he's been in jail and in mental institutions. And a few years ago, I think it was last year, the same court decided that he should be let free. But for some reason, the police took him into custody, and they claim that they managed to expel him to Somalia. Well,
so only after 20 years, of horrific crimes in Finland, and they deport him, like fast action from the police.
There's a retard asking, is this Lindholm guy from Iraq? No. And no, he's not from Iraq. Do you have any more stupid questions?
I return to this Lindholm case that of these 3 stranglings of women, which were clearly attempted murders, he was first sentenced to 6 years for 3 attempted murders and 3 assaults. And the court sentenced him to sit that entire sentence in jail, no lessened sentences or shortened sentences, because the psychiatric evaluation found that he was extremely dangerous to the health, safety, and freedom of other people. But a year later, a higher court decided that the guy didn't commit 3 attempted murders, but 3 aggravated assaults. And they shortened his sentence with over a year. And at the same time, they also found that there are no grounds to keep this guy in jail for his entire sentence, so he can still get released on parole ahead of time, with all of this criminal history behind him. And in March 2012, the court here in Oulu sentenced him to 4 years and 4 months for aggravated rape, attempt of an aggravated assault, and of illegal imprisonment.
4 years.
Yes. The aggravated rape and the illegal imprisonment had happened in 2009 in a hotel in Oulu, and the attempt of aggravated assault between 2 days in Bentholm's own, or this Lindholm's own apartment. He has used many names, I guess, to hide his identity when he has been released. And the court sentenced him to serve the full penalty in jail. And at that time, the higher court even agreed to that. And in 2015, he escaped penitentiary, and he wasn't even doing hard time. Like, he was in an open jail institution where you can go to work outside of the jail. It's enough that you return to there in the evening. So it's not like even being in jail. And they let an extremely dangerous person, the only serial killer in Finland,
the easiest way to get a job is first to get in jail, then they will get you a job.
Yeah. But, and he was, when he escaped from the jail and he was away for a couple of weeks, he was supposed to get paroled a few months later. And his sentence was only lengthened with that a couple of weeks. He was away, but his parole wasn't taken off. He was still given parole, even though he had just escaped from jail. And then on Christmas 2016, this guy was released again. And even before he was released, I said, somebody's going to die. Like this, if they let that guy out, somebody's going to die. And in 2017, in April this year, the Helsinki police demanded that this guy is imprisoned for in suspicion of planning a serious offense against health and safety of another person. But the Helsinki court decided, first of all, to release this guy for the time being till the investigation was done. So there was a guy with a lengthy criminal history, and they still gave him the benefit of the doubt that he gets to stay at home and wait for the investigation to be through. And today he was released again, and this planning of a serious offense was him stalking a teenage girl and appearing behind the girl's door, or the girl's family's door, while her parents were away, wearing those leather gloves, trying to conceal the eye on the door so the girl can't see him. And she tried to trick the girl to letting him in. And it's clear that if the girl had opened the door, she would be dead now. But the Helsinki court decided that there isn't sufficient evidence that he planned to kill her or to harm her in any way, so they released him today. And now we are waiting until he kills someone again, or at least tries to kill someone or rape some child. And
well, either this guy has some powerful friends somewhere that want to keep him free, or our system is very rigged, that if you write a blog, you can be sentenced, but this guy, he can be murdering guys and nothing happens. But we should do a broadcast in which we analyze how the Finnish court system changed in the 70s, because in the 60s it was very harsh. It was like Alcatraz in Finland, but in the 70s there was this I cannot remember his name. He started with a K. I don't know what was this guy's name, but he changed the penal system that in such a way that okay, these guys are murderers, okay, but they should be reintroduced to society, and maybe we will get new taxpayers and so on. You should not. It does not help to keep them in jail, or you should just be lenient, and everything will go on nicely. And I think it was in '72 that this whole thing changed in Finland, and we should one day do a special on this problem, because this is not. We know this is not working. It's like multiculturalism and all these crazy leftist ideas. They do not work. We should abandon them straight away. This is not working. And it causes problems for people, and people are angry about this, but nothing happens.
And somebody in the comment section says that he's relieved that his stream just went down, and he thought that our apartment got raided by the left-wing police. And actually, that's a pretty realistic option at this point. At some moment, we are going to get raided. Maybe not tonight, but at some day, because Younes actually has pick-up warrant on him, because we have talked about his subtitling crime, that he subtitled the speech from the Frenchman Michel Pollat. The speech is on my channel too, and the cops now are investigating him for what was it? Incitement of hatred against a minority, and was it also breaching of religious peace? Or
no, I only.
You only incited hatred against a minority.
Religions are untouched, but they are investigating a hate speech crime, because I subtitled a video of a 3-minute speech in a protest, and was it in October that they sent me this letter that I should be interrogated, and I said, fuck you, I'm not coming. If you have questions, ask them on the phone, and they did not want to ask them, so I said, well, come and fetch me. And now was it in May, this hate speech cop called me, and he said, well, are you really not coming to the interrogation? I said, no. He said, then we will have to fetch you. I said, bring it on. And it's July the 7th, or no.
They still haven't picked him up. And there was actually a twist to the story, and I guess the delay could be about that, because the investigator who called him, the famous hate speech cop Marco Foppa Fors, actually got fired from his job as the lead investigator of the hate speech unit, because he got into a hate speech scandal of his own. He had leaked confidential information to a secret police Facebook group, and he had also been an admin in that group, while there was some racist commentary going on in the group that was only meant for police officers, and a screenshot from the group leaked out, and then he got in trouble for it. And I was so like elated when I heard about that the moron had gotten fired because he got into a hate speech scandal, because he was so condescending when he called Younes. He was like, well, you should read this and this report so you would know what's hate speech and you wouldn't get in trouble. So I made a Facebook post when I heard that he had gotten fired, and I said, okay, you should read this report so you would know what's hate speech and you wouldn't get in trouble.
There's a Facebook group in which a third of the police force are writing in Finland, and it happens that it turns out that there's a communist newspaper that leaked some of the Facebook posts that were written there, and some of the comments that were made, and well, there's nothing wrong about this, but the Facebook posts and comments, they are hate speech. So there's nothing. There are normal comments from the police, but they are hate speech. And the guy that wanted to fetch me, he got fired. And so we are still waiting. And as the moment they come here, I will be live streaming, and it will be a top quality live stream. We will be able to show how freedom of speech works in Finland. You subtitle a video and the police breaks in your house. I'm waiting. I have my camera ready there, but they are
I just hope they don't come when I'm like in the shower or working out or anything.
It's very slow. They don't take seriously this hate speech stuff. But yeah, you can look at the video. It's a French guy. Well, you can subscribe to my channel, and the video is there. I have when I got the interrogation letter, I added some subtitles, and now there's 24 versions of that video. There's video in Spanish, in German, in Russian, in various Finnish dialects. There's one in the Morse code. There's one in hand sign version. There's basically every possible version, and they want to interrogate me. I don't know what their questions will be. Is the question, did you subtitle this video? No, it just appeared here. You fucking idiot. But they want to spend the taxpayers' money working on subtitled videos. But the strangled murderer, well, no, let him free. The honor killing guy, yeah, no, he didn't have plans. What the fuck is this country really? Finland is a great country, but our politicians, our officials, these guys, they're mentally insane, because in every office has been infiltrated by these leftist communist idiots that want to destroy our society, and they have this crazy ideal that you should be tolerant, you should be this and that, but they are not tolerant towards you if you disagree with them. And whatever, it's their right. I tolerate them. I just do. I have been banned from Twitter yesterday. I'm constantly banned from Facebook. But YouTube is a safe space. Here I can spread hate speech freely. I have gotten 2 YouTube bans. One was a copyright infringement, and the other was an incitement against other races or whatever. But that was years ago, so it didn't happen.
Yeah, and I actually have an interrogation of mine coming up for some slander report some leftists have filed of me, and one of them was this case of this fat migrant hag filing a police report against me because I called her traitor and a moron. And if there is a better way to prove that you are a moron than to file a criminal report about someone because they called you a moron, let me know. But it was so.
She's a public person standing in a protest. We were.
And she asked me about my
Yeah.
opinion. I didn't start a discussion with her. I was discussing with these migrants. And she asked me, okay, what am I then? And I said, you're a traitor and you're a moron. And it was the saddest thing. Like, imagine this girl who weighs like 300 pounds, this like hopeless case, standing there in the migrant camp. And it was like, yeah, I'm sorry for all this you have going on, but this is clearly desperate. What are you doing here? It's obvious why you are here. So
according to the law, she is a public person since she is a present in a protest, and it is no slander if you criticize a public person, and but they are whining about this, and we get all the time, every day we get the worst kind of slanders. But if we report them, the police says fuck you. But these pieces of shit, if they complain, it's immediately, yeah, we will come into your house. Why? But the positive point here is that we are able to prove the double standards, and because not all people understand that there really are double standards, and that's I don't know if this is enough or if this is useful, but we are doing our part, fighting the man.
But I guess, should we end for tonight? We have been going on for around 2.5 hours. And all of our topics for today were from Finland. And there is a lot going on in Sweden, a lot of topics from there too. So we talked before this live stream that we could do our next live stream about only these Sweden topics. Because
there's lots happening in Sweden. One upcoming event, well, for example, this week there was this Almedalen Veikon, and it's a political event that is happening on an island in Sweden, and maybe we'll talk about that, because it's sort of interesting how the public opinion has switched. In the previous years, the Sweden Democrat Party was spat on, but now they are acclaimed. There was also this so-called Nazi movement that was allowed to participate in that event. That caused a big problem. I wanted to go there and stream the whole week live, but well, I have other things to do. This Saturday there was the Helsinki Pride, this gay stuff thing. There's the same thing in Sweden during this month, but there's one particular event that is interesting. It's called Järva Pride, and it's the gay pride that is organized by the so-called far right, and they march from or in the Muslim ghettos. And I was there last year, and they had invited, for example, Milo Yiannopoulos to attend that event, but he, at the last minute, I heard about the cancelling while I was on the boat towards Sweden. And well, last year I streamed it, and I plan to do it again this year. Last year it was the last Saturday of July, so it's probably it was the 27th, I think, and to this year it's probably the 29th, and we are probably going there together, and it will be on my YouTube channel probably. And
The
this,
last year's live stream got a pretty decent viewership.
yeah, I got a good coverage. There were almost 2,000 people watching it live, and then there's
And these far-right live streams in Finland, they are really popular. Like, imagine they are for people of 5 million. There are 5 million Finnish-speaking people, and they can have like 6,000 viewers at the same time, one far-right live stream. And that's pretty much what a lot of American live streams get, popular live streams, even though they have a viewership like, or this potential viewership hundreds times bigger.
But to this year, if we go there, we of course need to get the funding to go there. It's not very expensive to go there. The bus and the boat is not so bad, but the accommodation there is problematic a bit. But there's always this super chat thing, and when we are there, we probably will get. Last year I only commented in Finnish the event, but maybe this time we will do it in English, so more people will, and I will have a better connection, 4G connection, covering the event, and this year it will be better if, and we are together there. We'll have a good coverage from there. And in fact, the Swedes, they don't know how to live stream, and they have data limits. They cannot stream unlimited, but in Finland we have everything is unlimited. And
yeah, it's terrible how expensive these online connections are in other countries in Europe. Like in Finland, you can get a prepaid a SIM card for €7, and that has unlimited 4G connection for 7 days. So with that €7, you can live stream the entire week with 4G connection. And in other European countries, whether you are in Sweden or France or Denmark, you have to pay like 5 times more, and you have limits to how much you can use, like 2 gigabytes. What are you going to do with that when you're live streaming?
in fact, in May I went to France to live stream the French election, and I went with my Finnish subscription, and even if I had bought a local prepaid or whatever, I could not have gotten such a good deal. And that's one.
That the Finnish connection with the roaming charges is cheaper than the local connections with the local charges.
It's weird, but that will probably be in 3 weeks now. It's
and one thing we have been talking about is that because these leftists are having these protests against the deportation flights in Helsinki, that it would be fun to go and live stream one of those, but it's a bit much to go to Helsinki for one single protest to live stream it. So it would be nice if something happened that there would be like several events in one weekend, so we could do multiple things with that same trip. So we'll keep an eye on situations for that. Because
But maybe we could stream the gay pride in Sweden in the Muslim ghettos on this channel and not my channel. If we do it in English, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it works out.
But let's. It's in 3 weeks actually, but I haven't gotten any information. But I'm pretty sure that it will be organized again, and it's a very different gay pride. It's one that really matters because the people are marching in the Muslim ghettos and in Sweden. So at the same time, you get to see the Muslim ghettos in Stockholm, Sweden, and you get to see the so-called gay pride. That's the thing. But yeah, that was pretty much what we had to talk about today. We'll probably be doing these live streams
on Friday nights, and I hope we can do the Sweden live sooner, but if not sooner, then Friday night at least in 1 week.
Yep.
Yeah, well, it's starting to near 3 a.m. over here, so maybe we should get some rest. And
thanks to all the donators and
and the rest of the viewers. Of course.
Last time somebody asked, is the PayPal account still working? Yes,
it is too, of course.
I think it's in the description box. I'm not sure.
Yeah, but this just adds one more means for people if somebody doesn't have a PayPal but they have a credit card and want to help, and
so thanks to everybody.
Yeah.
Good night from Finland.
Thanks and good night.